I love you. Aloha and greetings. This is Master Sio coming to you from the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in Pasadena, California. Thank you for joining me here today. This meditation is called Banging Wall Meditation. This is especially geared for the control freaks out there. I happen to be also a control freak too much of my time, but I'm getting better, okay? So, as you probably know, control freaks are people who bang their heads against the wall simply because the universe doesn't seem to listen to their totally absurd wishes. Now, on Father's Day, I woke up and I was going to go to my son for dinner, and I decided to take a nice cold shower, then go for a walk. And on my walk, I opened the gate, stepped outside and looked to the left, and went around a few blocks. Half an hour later, I came back around the corner and I looked at my car, which is parked next to my gate, and lo and behold, I thought the car looked a little odd. Mind you, half an hour ago I walked right by it without observing it or anything and just went for my walk. I didn't notice the oddity until I came back. And as I approached the car, I figured, well, it looks like the air is a little bit low on one of my tires. And I just looked around, admired the flowers blooming, and listened to the birds. And I was almost upon my car when maybe 5 feet away. And I looked and I thought, it does look a little odd. I'm going to show you a picture here. So I looked at my car and I said, like the French say, c'est la vie. I was kind of amazed at how calm I remained. And I came in my gate, and lo and behold, there was my landlord on his patio. And he said, "Good morning. How was your walk?" And I said, "It was great." He said, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Yes, of course. Just my car, my tire stolen." He leaped off his chair and said, "Really? Let's call the cops." He's a little bit more of a dramatist, shall we say, than I am. And I said, "Oh, what's that gonna do?" He said, "We're gonna call them right away. I mean, where's my phone?" And he said, "Aren't you alarmed by all this?" And I said, yes. Particularly since you're the owner of the property, you told me it was entirely safe in this neighborhood. In any event, by this time, it was like 10:30, the sun was way up there, and I told him, look, if we call the cops now, they're going to come here and we're going to take a lot of time answering questions. My car is not insured for theft like that. And he says, it's going to cost you a few $100, maybe $1,000 to replace your tires. It's a little worse than not having breakfast. So would you like to have some cereal first and then we'll worry about it? So in due course, the cops showed up, and it was one very tall cop and a little bit shorter one, and the shorter one was doing the questioning. So he began, can you please spell your name for me? And he got interrupted by the taller cop who said, ask for his registration. So obviously one was kind of breaking in the younger guy. But after they had taken the report and stuff, I asked the taller cop if he had ever had anything similar to mine. And he said, oh yes, I live in a very nice neighborhood, and I was working and my wife called me. My truck was parked on the street and said, I thought I heard the alarm to your truck go off. Can you hurry home? And I said, well, I'm in the middle of working. And in any event, he went home and someone, this is a cop's truck in a nice neighborhood, had jacked up his truck and stolen part of the muffler system. I think they call it the catalytic converter. It's the most expensive part of the muffler system, I think. And I was just amazed. I said, wow, here's a cop, he had an alarm, his wife was home, she thought she heard the alarm going. So these are very fast working thieves, I think. Probably the same guys that came and stole all 4 of my tires. In any event, so I called my son and said I couldn't make it for dinner. And he said, Dad, don't worry about it. I will look for your car, which is a Honda. It's a very popular car, and people steal the tires off of them all the time. And I'm sure we can find some nice used ones for a few $100 with plenty of tread and everything. And I kind of called a few places. To replace my rims and the tires would have cost something like $1,200. I decided better to just get some used ones. It's an old car, I don't know, it might die any day. So my son found the best deal, like rims and tires with around 3 years worth of tread left for $400. And I said, okay, that sounds great. Otherwise, I'd have to pay $800 or $1,200 or something. And he says, okay, I'll bring them in tomorrow. That intrigued me, the speed with which my son found replacements. So I started poking around online, and I found someone who said he was a mechanic, and he just bought a new car, and he's going to piecemeal out the parts of his car. So he said, I have 4 tires, exact fit for your car, and I only want $100. That's a much better deal than my son had found. So I said, yeah, that sounds great. And he said, would you like to come and get them? I said, well, I don't have any wheels, and I might have to ask someone for a ride. So he said, okay, let me know. So after a while, I had kind of accepted my loss, and I reminded myself that there are many weeks when I don't even leave my place. I don't even open the front door, I'm inside all day. Maybe in the evening I might go for a walk. The next day might be the same thing. And there are times when I don't even use my car for maybe a whole week. It just sits there collecting dust, and it's a playground for some of the stray cats in the neighborhood. So I thought, okay, I'll just accept it. Maybe I'll just go without wheels for a few days. It's not the end of the world. And the next day, or was it later the same day, I think, or the next day, I got a call from the mechanic with the 4 tires, and he said, I have a little bit of time if you want to meet me halfway. He's about half an hour away from me. Halfway, I'll bring the tires and transfer them to your car. And I said, I'm not really in a great hurry, and I'll just wait until I find someone to drive me over. And I said, okay, let's leave it at that. Later on, he called up again and said, I want to get rid of my tires, and I'll drive over. And I said, wow, that sounds great. I'll give you some gas money. So he agreed, drove over. The tires from a little bit away, you think they look like new tires. And he said, I'm a mechanic, and I can tell this one has at least probably 2 to 3 years worth, considering the way that you drive. I said, okay. So I handed him the $100, and I looked in my wallet for more money. I said, let me give you some gas money. And he said, no. I'd like to take a brief pause from my story to explain this aspect of our meditation. I am a master of medical Qigong, which means that I help to move energy by projecting my own energy or chi or mana, prana, life force, same thing, through any medium at any distance, and it would affect the other person that I am speaking with or being entrained with through the energetic connections. So, from the very beginning of our time here together, we were already entrained, and in your heart space, if you have been keeping it open while you're listening to my anecdotes, you are absorbing the loving and powerful energies that I have been sending you and will continue to send to you, so long as you keep your heart open to receiving some love here today. I am also a Hawaiian Kahuna healer, meaning that I employ the principles around aloha or love that have been circulated throughout the world and in their own communities by the ancient Hawaiian kahunas and the authentic ones that are still around today. As you watch here, you are receiving from me these emissions of low-level lights that you can't really see unless you are in extreme restful or relaxed state. But you can feel a sense of relaxation as I am relaying my anecdotes to you. So the short explanation is, just observe whether you are enjoying to a degree my anecdotes. They're all tied in with our meditation. As I mentioned before, the banging wall meditation. Okay, I shall return to finish up my anecdotes, and then we will go into even more intense transmission of healing energy to you. Okay? In any event, He said, "Would you like some help with the tires?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be nice." He said, "I do it for a living." So he put on all 4 tires for me. So this guy, he did the whole thing in maybe the whole 4 tires in less than a half hour. And it occurred to me, I began to wonder if this is the guy who had stolen my tires. I don't even know what kind of tires they were. When the cops came, they asked me, "So what make are the tires so we can, if we catch the thieves?" I said, "I have no idea, except they were very good tires." But in any event, everything turned out very well, and I'm very grateful that I was thusly blessed by the universe. Despite my tires being stolen, I remain very optimistic about my life and grateful for whatever little that I have. I have a friend who complained about a movie that won an Oscar and is acclaimed worldwide. I asked, "Why didn't you like the movie?" And she said, "Because in one scene, for about 2 seconds, there was a brown chicken. And since childhood, she never liked brown chickens. She only liked black chickens." I think this is kind of an odd way to look at life, to allow a 2-second minuscule moment to spoil an entire movie. Now let's get on to some intense meditative moments. As I mentioned earlier, I have been constantly emitting these biophotons filled with loving messages to you the entire time. So now please keep your eyes open, constantly focused on my third eye, which is about here, or in this general area. You will get the deepest healing results by observing your body's reactions, not by uttering 1,000 intentions, but simply by observation. By observation alone, your heart open wider and wider and accept the loving vibrations of frequencies that I have been projecting to you. Now I will be quiet as you observe your reactions. Some may be very subtle, like a gentle breeze, and others may cause you to tremble. Now, please gently close your eyes. Gently close your eyes and continue to observe any subtle or dramatic change in the sensations felt by your body. I love you. You may be feeling extremely relaxed, as though you were drifting off to sleep. And a thought crosses your mind of how beautiful you feel and how you sense your immune system being upgraded through these sensations and frequencies that you are feeling. And you might want to extend this blessing to a friend of yours or family member, or even a pet. And this you can do simply by saying quietly to yourself, all these blessings I extend automatically to, and then fill in the blank. It is very normal for people attending this sort of meditation to view themselves from outside of their body, as if you were a little distance away from where you are now, and you watch your body sort of suspended in front of you, with all these little sparkling lights of various colors and hues floating constantly throughout your body, which is like a transparent form. And as you watch these little lights, knowing they are biophotons moving around your body, bringing powerful and healing frequencies to you, once in a while you may feel perhaps some pain or major movement in an organ or your knee or other specific part of your body. You should express gratitude for this. It merely means that you have received powerful frequencies, not just from myself, but from everybody listening at this moment to this meditation. It is possible for you to see images or lights, even with your eyes closed. And it is suggested that you express your deepest gratitude for what you are receiving at this moment. Powerful emotions sometimes arise, leading to tears of gratitude and appreciation flowing freely. Just allow and be grateful. The blessings that you are receiving may or may not be in the exact order and amounts that you had in mind, but there are surprises that will continue, positive surprises, even after our beautiful meditation here. As you beautiful creation in front of you, you could say, thank you for being here. Thank you for loving me. I accept you completely, and I shall never abandon you again. Gently open your eyes and return your awareness to your immediate surroundings, and notice just how much brighter everything looks, and how much more joy you feel, and how you know deeply in your heart that love and gratitude are powerful attributes that have become yours. As we wind down our meditation, free now from the banging wall, if you have time and the inclination, you may enjoy our celebration service led by our senior minister, the Reverend Scott Olson. This is Master Sio. Aloha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Master CO. It's so nice to have you here, lifting our spirits and lifting our frequencies and doing all that you do, bringing us to a place of peace, place of knowingness. And so I just want to say thank you to also to all the people who've come to see you today. And I'd like to ask you if you'd be willing to do a short it's not short, do a small donation to Ahiah, maybe $5 to Ahiah. And there are 3 different ways that are showing up on your screen that you can donate to Ahiah. The first one is to go to ahiah.com/donate. And if you do that, you just hit the Breeze button if you want to do Breeze, or if you're a Venmo person, there's a spot in there for you to go to Venmo. And another way is to text to give, and you can text whatever amount you want to give to the number that's showing up on the screen, 616-229-2225. And the third way is just send us a check, and we love to get checks in the mail. So you can send it to Ahiah at 150 North El Molino Avenue, Pasadena, California, 91101. However you send that donation in, just know that it goes to support Master CO being on the air, so to speak, and it also goes to support Ahiah, not only on our Sunday service here today, but all the things that we do throughout the week, our book study, our healing service, our classes, and all the good work that we do out in the community. So I just want to say thank you to those of you who have donated. And I'd also like to ask you if you'd like to join us for our Sunday celebration. We have a Sunday celebration that's going to come up in just another minute or so. And we would love to see you there. We're going to be talking about taking action today. And we're going to have some fun. So it'll be good to see you there. And we'll just break for about another minute or so, and then we'll start up right at 11 o'clock. See you in just a minute. But, oh yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to have you here on this bright, sunny day in downtown Pasadena. We are having a lovely day here. We're going to have a lovely celebration here, too. Now, Reverend Mike, who would normally just say God morning to you, it is his birthday today, and so he's not here today, but let's all wish him a happy birthday. If you're joining us on Facebook or Zoom or on YouTube, type in a happy birthday comment to him. He may be on right now, I'm not sure. But if he's not on, I'm sure he'll be watching the service later and he'll see his name scroll up in all the comments. So give him a chat. If you have his phone number and all, give him a text message. Love to just wake him up if he's still sleeping. So anyway, it's a good morning. It's a great morning to be here. I want to say thank you to the people that are here today supporting the service. We have our music team starting out. We've got Chris Glick on the piano. He's our music director. Let's say thank you to Chris. And we got Leon on the bass and Brian on the drums. And today, for our guest singer, we've got Reverend Carol Lutz. She's my best friend. I love having her here. And she's also a great singer, too. So we've had her here before. I'm sure you'll recognize her. She also speaks here every once in a while, too. So this time she's singing. We also have Audra Nicole. And you're probably going, Audra Nicole? Who the heck is that? I've never heard that name. Well, Audra Nicole is new. She's not actually here in the sanctuary with us because she's a ministerial student and she's lives out in the Denver area. And she's our new ministerial intern. And I'm going to tell you what that means in a few moments. So just stay tuned on that. But I want to say thank you to Audra Nicole and let's welcome her. And then I'd like to say thank you to the people who allow, to help us do this today, get this all on the air and everything. And we've got Gloria here doing the sound for us. Thank you, Gloria. And we got Harris in the back there. He's pushing all our buttons. So thank you, Harris. And then we have a few people on our social media that are helping out as moderators. We've got Louise Mucha on Facebook. We've got Mindy Morrison on Zoom and Peter Bedard on YouTube. So let's say thank you to them. So, we're going to have, and one last one. We've got practitioner emeritus Nancy Thompson here. Let's give her a hand. But, I love Nancy. She has been a practitioner for a long time. And as you'll see today when she does the invocation and the prayer, you will feel that presence that she has. So anyway, thank you, Nancy. And so let's go ahead and get started today. We got a lot going on. And so I'd like to start out first by just taking a deep breath in and let it go. And let's just get grounded while we watch our meditation video, and then we'll have our invocation and our reading. Take it away, Harris.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, what a glorious California day. We send our love to all the people that are, and we'll just go out and enjoy our beautiful day. I'm Nancy Thompson. I'm a practitioner here at Ahiah, and I love being at Ahiah. I love all that Ahiah does and the energy that it does. So would you join me this morning in a spiritual mind treatment in which we just are going to absolutely know the truth. So as you get yourself comfortable, even in your jammies or whatever, get yourself absolutely comfortable with a nice straight back and your feet on the ground, knowing that you are part of this earth, and as your straight back just leans up into the sky, knowing that you are a part of the spiritual being. And as we come into this moment, with absolute gratitude. Gratitude for this beautiful day, gratitude that we have found religious science, gratitude of all the shoulders that we can stand on and learn on and grow on and be uplifted. We just come in such gratitude. And our absolute gratitude, as I always say, our absolute gratitude is that we do know at our core cellular soul level, there is that one mind of God, that one mind ever present. It's all about love. It's just love, not the love you have for a dog or a love you have for chocolate or something. It's the love of the universe. It's that oneness, that presence of just oneness that we can tap into at any moment. And we know there's that intelligence. There's that intelligence out there plotting our good. Plotting our good. It's reverse paranoia. The universe is plotting our good. And as we are aware and as we are awake and as we do our work, we see all the signs that intelligence is showing us. And as Ernest Holmes has told us, there's a power for good in that universe, and we can use it. And so I am, and every one of you is an I am, one with that love, one with that intelligence, and one with that power to use it. The strength in that, the power, the knowing that is so magnificent. And so as we declare this morning in that love and in that intelligence and in that power, that through the music that we hear today, through the talks we hear from Reverend Scott and Reverend Michael, we will be uplifted spiritually, we will be fed emotionally, we will be ready to face this week in a new way with new ideas and new thoughts. We are so gifted, we are so thankful. So we send these words into the one mind, and the one mind always says, yes, my beloved. Yes, my beloved, I'm with you every moment. Know how special you are. So we release these words in gratitude, knowing that they have spoken the truth, and they are so. And we say together, and so it is, amen and amen. I found a very nice statement, I thought. Dennis Merritt Jones wrote this. I just really liked it. It's joy is an inside job, and we know that, don't we? So he has a little poem by Rumi, and I love Rumi. If you knew yourself for even one moment, if you could just glimpse your most beautiful face, maybe you wouldn't slumber so deeply in that house of clay. Why not move into your house of joy? Shine into every crevice, for you are the secret bearer and always have been. Didn't you know this? Don't you just love Rumi? Why are we slumbering in that house of clay when we can be living in the house of joy? So Dennis Merritt says, metaphorically, the house of clay Rumi speaks of is that aspect of our being that is easily getting seduced by the gravitational pull of human condition. It's the physical and emotional part of us that looks outward to the world for our sense of wholeness, for happiness and joy. Firstly, to move into our house of joy means taking the vertical plunge inward from our head to our heart, where the ineffable presence of the One is so strongly felt and embodied and then actualized in our daily lives. Joy truthfully is an inside job. It has taken up residence in our minds, our hearts, and therefore it's always on call, waiting to be activated, waiting to be integrated in our lives and the lives of others. We cannot give others our joy because we cannot give them that which they already have. However, we can be that stimulus that invokes joy to arise from within us. And do I ever know a lot of people that know how to stimulate that joy? Joy is that subtle energy. It's that intangible as air we breathe, and yet as palpable as our heartbeat. As difficult to describe as love, and yet as easily to feel as love itself. A life without meaning is joyless, and a life without joy is meaningless. Many people falsely believe that we can experience a joyful life while simultaneously working to create a productive life. The practice is to know that one complements the other and to find balance between the two. As you move through this day, may you remember that you don't need a special dispensation to be joyful. You don't have to wait for a special occasion to feel the beneficiary of authentic joy, because there's never, never, never a moment when joy is further away from your next thought or lo, your very next breath. I send my love, and I can't wait until we're all together. Namaste.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. So I'm going to ask our music team to come on up. And Nancy, I just want to say, what was that? Reverse neurosis or reverse paranoia? That was it. That's a great term. I like that one. I think that one will live on in my prayers for a while at least. So now I just want to say, we've got a great music team. We got Reverend Carol up and running. Let's take it away.
Someone's in need of a prayer today. apart. Someone's in despair this day. Have you prayed from your heart? So many are trying to find their way, and they need your light, you know, for our prayers of love. Lift them high, heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. Our prayers of love, lift them high, heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. Have you spoken the word today? Did you give your all in prayer? The world is in need of what you say. Have you answered the call and pray? So many are seeking the way to go, and they need your light, you know, for our prayers of love. Lift them, it heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. Our prayers of love, lift them high, heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. You are the place you need to start, so throw open your mind and use your heart. Don't waste time and don't delay. So many are in need of a prayer today. So many are in need of a prayer today. Have you done your part? Someone's in despair this day. Have you prayed with all of your heart? Just listen to the Spirit, it's telling you to hear the holy call for our prayers of love. They lift them high, they heal them, sustain them, and they set them free. My God, they set us free. Our prayers, our prayers, our prayers, they heal them, sustain them, and they set them free.
Oh, absolutely. They set us free. Thank you, Reverend Carol. Absolutely. It's my joy to have you here. So, we're in, we've got about 3/4 of the way through February now, and our theme for February is One Journey, Many Paths. And hey, guys. Thanks, guys. We are live, remember. It's one journey, many paths. And we're on this one journey, which is a spiritual journey of coming together in oneness. And then we're also on many paths, and these many paths are because we are individualized expressions of the divine, and the many paths that we're all on are beautiful. They are our own unique individualized path. And so we're all on there, and we started out a couple weeks ago with the talk title of creating a clean slate. And we said that no matter whether we get stuck on our path or we're off our path that we've been planning, that cleaning our slate is a great idea, because when we clean the slate, then that allows us to put new ideas, new beliefs on our slate, new things into our thinking, which goes into the one mind that just says yes. And so that gets us unstuck. It gets us back on the path. And last week we talked about divine love, and we talked about divine love from this place of acceptance. And we said that divine love is a little bit hard to feel sometime when we get caught up in the mundane things of life. I think we said something about burping up apple fritters and Cheetos, as being an example of the mundane things of life. That was an Anne Lamott quote. And where we need to focus then is we need to focus on that acceptance that we feel, because that acceptance that the divine love is absolutely, it's grace is what it is. It means that we are not judged, that we are perfectly acceptable in the eyes of God, because God just sees us as itself. It only knows itself as perfection, so it knows us as being whole and complete and perfect, always. And so those are good things for us to get back into balance when we feel like we're a little bit off kilter. And so we're going to continue on today, but I'm going to start off by doing a power talk with Audra Nicole. Now, Audra Nicole, as I mentioned in the welcome, she's a ministerial student. She's out of the Denver area. She's going to the Denver campus for the ministerial school. And, when I was in ministerial school, I did the same type of an internship down at Laguna Woods. And that was Dr. Linda McNamara is down at Laguna Woods. And, she's now in her 35th year of being a minister, of a full-time minister, always in, doing something directly in ministry during that whole 35 years, which is phenomenal. If I tried to do that, I'd be 100 or something. I was done. So I don't think I'll be doing that. But my hat's off to Dr. Linda. And what I want to say about my experience down there is it wasn't just an experience of Dr. Linda supporting me. It was an experience of me being supported by all of Laguna Woods, all of the people there. And I really think it was a great experience for me. I think it was a good experience for them too. And so I'm hoping that that's what we get here, that we have the opportunity to take this action, which is to, help a ministerial student go on and build into their ministry. And that's what we're doing today. So Harris, why don't you go ahead and go with Audra Nicole.
Good morning and happy Sunday, Ahiah spiritual family. My name is Audra Nicole, and I'm honored to be here with you today to share today's Power Talk. This week, we're talking about taking action. And what a powerful thing to remember, to revisit, and to talk about. Now, in our busy, hustle society, there's a strong emphasis on taking action. It's ingrained in us to act, to do, to be more of a human doing sometimes than a human being. Now, since we're talking about taking action, I'm certainly not here to tell you not to take action, but I want to bring our attention to the type of action that's the most fruitful. Instead of just taking action for action's sake, I encourage us to take inspired action. Now, one thing that you'll learn about me if you don't already know is I love words. I love words. I probably look up at least one word a day, not because I don't know how to use it in a sentence, but because the depth of a word means something to me. So today, as we talk about taking action, and I speak specifically about inspired action, I'd like us to pause for a moment and look at the word inspire. So, inspire, as an English word, has Latin roots. Inspire, which translated means into breath. And what we know about breath, or prana, is that it is our life force. So one way we can look at the word inspire is into life. That's powerful. Now, according to Uncle Google in the Google Dictionary, the word inspire means filled with the urge or ability to do or feel something. Filled with the urge. Now that's a little bit more than maybe the mental space that we can think about an inspired idea or a light bulb. No, let's take it deeper. Inspired, filled with the urge or ability to. Now Uncle Google goes on to say, the word was originally used of a divine or supernatural being. In the sense, impart a truth or idea to someone. So, the divine imparting a truth or a wisdom into someone. Now that's what I mean when I talk about inspired action. I mean those actions that are clearly not yours. They're not from your ego mind, they're not from your monkey mind, they're not from societal obligations about what you should do. They're the actions that pull from your heart. Sometimes you don't even know why you're doing them, but they always yield the fruit of the divine. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, writes in The Science of Mind on page 167, the one seeking to demonstrate the power of spiritual realization in everyday affairs should believe in divine guidance. They should affirm that their mind is continually impressed with the images of right action, and that everything in their life is controlled by love, harmony, and peace. You, beloved, are connected to the divine. You, beloved, are a clear channel to receive inspired action. And it is taking that inspired action that leads us down the road of destiny to our highest and greatest experience. Now, before I leave you today, I'd like to close us out with a couple words from beloved Harriet Tubman. In this month's Science of Mind magazine, there's a quote. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. You, beloved, are full power. You activate that power when you take divine inspired action. Love you so much. I hope you have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.
Turn on my sound. How's that? Oh, thank you, Audrey Nicole. That was wonderful. And, she talked specifically, we're talking about taking action today, and she talked about inspired action. And I think that's true. That's really, the topic of today is how do we talk about inspired action? How do we do inspired action? So let's dig into that a little bit more then. What does it mean? What is not inspired action? We would call it, or I would call it maybe like mundane action. And last week we talked about the apple fritters and the Fritos, right? That is kind of the mundane life. It's when we get up in the morning and we go to the bathroom, we go take a shower, we go get some coffee, we go have breakfast, we go on with our day. All of those things we can do almost as if we don't even think about them, because the ego mind's in charge right now. It's just moving us along. And what's the ego mind? It's that part of our mind, our consciousness that is, rooted between the ears. And it's the, walking into the street when a car's coming. It's the one that looks both ways for us. It's the one that wants us to have some breakfast. And that mind is great. It does its tasks, but it's not the creative mind. Our creative mind is our conscious mind. It's the mind that's associated with our soul. It's the mind that is connected, part and parcel with the divine. Direct connection to the wisdom, intelligence, and clarity that God is. And that mind brings all of its inspiration to us. And when it brings us inspiration, when we take action, we're doing an inspired action. Makes sense, right? So we're going to talk about those inspired actions. And I want to talk about a person. February is Black History Month. So we're going to put on the screen a picture of somebody that I think you'll know. And that's a picture of Malcolm X. He's a handsome guy, good-looking guy. And I didn't know a bit about him, really, until I started reading about him just this last week. What I knew about him before was actually filled with lies, things that weren't true. I remember when I was about 13, 14 years old, I saw a picture of him on TV for some reason, I don't remember. But I do remember that I made some sort of comment, and it sent my stepfather over the edge, and he was just telling me, why would I like this guy? This guy is the leader of the Black Panthers, and he's all about violence, and he wants to kill white people. Now, none of that is true. But we're going to talk a little bit about who he is, and talk a little bit about more what the reality is. And as I listened, and as I listened to some articles, read some stuff, what I realized was that his life is a life of humanity. His life was a life that was lived at a time that wasn't so pretty. And he was born in 1925, and his name when he was born was Malcolm Little. And he had a loving mother, loving father. But his father in particular, both his father and mother were advocates for racial justice. And his father died when he was small, and it was called a streetcar accident. But his mom was convinced that he'd been killed by the Black Legion, which was a group of white people who were similar to the Ku Klux Klan. And his mom, after his father died, his mom ended up with a man that she thought she was going to marry. And when she got pregnant, he left. He disappeared. And that kind of sent her over the edge, and she ended up being committed to an asylum. And so that left Malcolm and his siblings in the foster care system. And, I've been part of the foster care system. I know what that's like as a parent, as a foster parent. And so there's lots of stuff that showed up in his early life. And even as a young adult, he moved to New York City when he was 18. And I would call that existence that he was having then was rough. It was a rough life. And by the time he was 21, he'd been convicted of larceny, and he was sentenced to 8 to 10 years in jail. And when he was in jail, though, this is when he converted to Islam. And while he was in jail, learning Islam, he joined the Islamic Brotherhood, the Nation of Islam. And that's where he started doing real work on racial equality. Now, some of the things that he did was he took the name X at that point. And X stands for the unknown name that he would have, from his African ancestors, if he could actually trace it back, that would be his name. But who knows what that is? And so X is his name. And he took back the word black because the word black was a bad word, right? But he came out with black power and black is beautiful. And he took back that word. And then it's said that he actually was an advocate for self-defense. He talked about that all the time, that you have the right to defend yourself. He was also a gun rights advocate. And, maybe if you've got a bunch of people coming at your family with guns, maybe guns are a good thing to have. I'm not a proponent of violence, but I think if I was to have that choice, I would kind of follow him in suit. And then it's said that he was having a war with white people. He called white people blue-eyed devils. I'm not blue-eyed, but I might be a devil. I don't know. But, over the years, especially towards the end of his life, which wasn't that long, he started to soften on that. And his message was more about all people coming together. And I think that we're all on a journey, and we all get to learn. And we all get to change our position over time. And so I think that, when he was assassinated, he was 39 years old when he was assassinated, and he was killed at a club in Harlem called the Audubon Ballroom. And he was killed by some people from the Nation of Islam because he had broken away from the Nation of Islam by that time. But actually this last week, I was reading about Malcolm X, and it's just amazing that just the last couple of days there's been some new information that has arrived. He was killed in 1965. And now, all these years later, some new information has arrived by an undercover police officer for the NYPD who is on his deathbed confessed that he was part of this conspiracy that went out and arrested all of Malcolm X's bodyguards so they wouldn't have any bodyguards that day. Now, who knows? I don't know. It's in the news. We'll find out as time goes on. As history, goes through all this, we'll find out the reality of that. But we know that there were a lot of things. There were FBI files and a lot of things that were happening in the United States in those days that we're not proud of. And maybe that was one more of those. But what I do know, what I can see from what I read about Malcolm X is that he was a natural-born leader. And one thing that he definitely did was he stood for action. He stood for taking action. And maybe that's a little bit about why he was labeled as violent. Because, if you take action, you're actually doing something in the world. It's a lot easier to call you violent than if you're sitting on your couch, couch potato watching TV. Not very violent. Everybody agrees that's not violent. But if you're actually out in the world, who knows? But one thing I know based on his writings is that he stood for some things. And he has some really great quotes out there. I'm only going to give you a couple of them, but I really recommend that you go out and look at the internet. It's easy. They're easy to find. And one of the things is he knew that you needed to stand for something. Action's no good if you're not standing for something. And so on your screen is a quote from him that says, "A man who stands for nothing falls for anything. And I think that's true. Because if we don't have our own internal barometer, our own compass that's pointing us in a direction, and then we go out and we see things in the world and we go, is that pointing in the direction that I stand for? Should I be following that or not? Should I be acting on that or not? I don't know. But I think this is an awesome insight. And I think as a nation right now, we're actually a little confused about what we stand for. And I think we've been confused for a long time, actually, in some respects. For instance, we are a nation that says that we stand for freedom, but all the way back at the founding of our Constitution, we wrote in slavery. We wrote in that black people were only 3/5 of a person. So we've done a lot of things over these years that don't really stand for freedom. And when we get these things that we stand for freedom, but yet we do this, we also believe in this, it's, a cognitive dissonance that just, causes crazy things to happen. I think that part of this confusion about what freedom means is, a core reason for the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. I think if we actually understood freedom, we wouldn't be there in violence, trying to undermine the freedoms that we have. So, I want to ask you a question, guys. Do you remember where this phrase comes from? Truth, justice, and the American way. Anybody know? Anybody remember? Well, on your screen right now is a picture. And it's a picture of Superman. I'm going to read you what they always used to say at the beginning of the Superman thing. It's, yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter from a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. Now, as I read that, I went, I can stand for that. Now, what American way is, I think is a little, I don't know exactly what that means. But everything else, standing for equal rights, the valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, those are things I can stand for. I can stand in that place and then recognize whether or not those things that people are saying around me, do they square up with what I say I stand for or not? Superman, he always did that. He is a fictional character, so he gets to get away with it. But, he always compared what Lex Luthor was doing against the values that Superman had. And he found Lex Luthor coming up short. And so that's why he was always defending people around him. Now, the American way, I don't know exactly what that stood for Superman, but I think the whole thing about Superman, that I can stand for that. I think maybe Malcolm X stood for it too. Now, we can't just stand for ourselves. That's one of the key things, is we can't stand for ourselves. And on your screen right now is another quote. And it's another quote from Malcolm X, and he says, "No man has believed perfectly until he wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself." I think that's so deep. We have to wish for our brother what we wish for ourselves. That puts us all in the level. That makes us all equal. If we truly thought that in this society, we wouldn't have the income imbalance that we have. We wouldn't have the racial injustice that we have. John 14:20 out of the Bible, Jesus says, "If anyone says, 'I love God,' and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen." And so we need to love our brother. If we're going to say we love God, we need to also love our brother. And both of these statements, what they do is they call us to powerful action. They call us to take on the things that are around us that don't line up with what we stand for. I think Malcolm X took powerful action. I think Superman took powerful action. I think the question is, what am I doing? What are you doing? What can we do? How do we go forward? You know, it's no secret that Gabriel and I adopted 3 boys out of foster care. And when we did that, when we adopted our first 2 boys, because we adopted Cody and Dylan, then 7 years or something later, we adopted John. No, it wasn't 7 years. It was more like 4 years. But anyway, we adopted them in 2 batches, and I was 4 when we got Cody and Dylan. And I have to tell you that 9 months before that, I had never once thought of adopting any kids. And what happened was, I was at church. I was at Namaste in Long Beach, and I walked out the doors of the church, and there was a table sitting there, and there was people from the Orange County Adoptive Services, which was a little strange because we were in LA County, but not that far from Orange County. And they were there, to tell us, they were looking for adoptive parents, and they were just telling people what the process would look like. And Gabriel and I spent maybe a total of 3 minutes at that table. That's all it took. And I looked at Gabriel and I said, I could do that. And Gabriel nodded, and we basically said we could do that. Now the thing is we didn't tell many people that we were on this process, because it's a long process. You know, you got to take classes and be licensed and all this stuff. And so it took several months to get to the point where we were ready to be licensed. And we didn't tell many people because the first couple of people we told, they were polite, they were nice, but you could see the fear in their eyes. You know, the worry. What? You're going to take grown kids into your house? You know, what? What's going to happen? All this worry, all this fear that was there. And so after a while, Gabriel and I just kind of kept it quiet. We took our classes, we did our stuff. We told a few other people that we knew would support us, our minister, for instance. But we weren't talking a whole lot about it. And the thing is that this fear that you can feel, it can keep you from doing the things that hold you up. You know, when I was at that table, I was kind of like the Grinch. I felt my heart grow 3 times. And that's when you know. That's when you know. When you feel those feelings, that's when you know that you're taking a step in the right direction. Fear doesn't do that for you. On your screen is a quote from, I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I won't try, but she's the last queen of Hawaii. And she says, "Never cease to act because you fear you may fail." Never cease. We have to keep moving forward. The thing that keeps us stuck in one place is that word ruminating. You know, where we sit and we think and we think and we think and we think and we worry and we think. And we don't ever get off the couch when we do that. So we don't want to let fear stand in our way. We want to let Spirit guide us. And, you know, I have to say that in that entire process of adopting our 3 sons, you know, I feel like Spirit guided me in every step that way. And what I know is that the exact right 3 boys came to us. And I know that because I know it here. And when you do the things that you are inspired to do, you will also know it here. So I want to leave you with an affirmation today that's on your screen. So go ahead and read it. It says, "I remember that I am on a journey of oneness and allow my actions to move me forward." Let's say that again. I remember that I am on a journey of oneness and allow my actions to move me forward. So as you go out into your week this week, I want you to just remember, what do you stand for? What is it that you stand for? Actions you should take in those directions. Just let Spirit guide you. Thank you, and namaste. Thank you, Chris. Chris is over there just kind of doing his thing while we go into prayer. And so let's just drop down inside to a place that knows that it knows that it knows. To a place within us, within me, within you, within all of life, that lies open to the infinite, that knows that there is only one life, one power, one presence that we call Spirit or God, that knows the love and the joy and the peace that God is always. And so as we know that truth and as we celebrate that truth, we know it and we celebrate it because we recognize that we are it, that there is only one life, one power, one presence, living itself fully and completely as us, as love, as peace, as joy, as abundance, in, as, and through our lives. And so it's from that place of knowing that I speak my word right here, right now, knowing absolutely that love is what inspires us, that love is what moves us forward, that love both gives of itself completely and also accepts us completely. And so as we live on both sides of the coin of love, I know absolutely that our time on this planet is a blessing. It's a blessing to ourselves as we stand in the knowingness of the love and the peace and the joy, and therefore we have a guiding principle within us and as us that shows us the way, that moves us to take the actions that are appropriate, that inspires us to know the truth and to be who we have come here to be. And I know absolutely the prosperity and abundance that God is supports us in all of those actions. We don't have to worry about being depleted as we take action, as we give of ourselves. We know we are always fully supplied by Spirit with all that we need. And for knowing all of that, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now's the time for our conscious contributions. And I want to say thank you to all of those people who have already contributed to Ahiah in all the different ways that you've already done it, whether it is online or through a check. And I just want to say thank you for those who are out there writing their checks right now. And on your screen are 3 ways to contribute to Ahiah. One is going to our website, and you can go to ahiah.com/donate and fill out the forms there. Or you can text to give, and you can text whatever amount you want to give to the telephone number showing on the screen, which is 616-229-2225. And then last of all, you can always send us a check. And if you send me a check, I love getting those little love notes from you guys. So, feel free to put one of those in there too. But you can send us a check to our address here, 150 North El Molino Avenue, Pasadena, California, 91101. However you wish to do that, just know that your conscious contribution goes to sustaining this Center for Spiritual Living in all that we do, both this time here that we have on Sunday, but all the other times that we have together in community, supporting each other, supporting the community that surrounds us. And so, on your screen is our blessing, and if you want to go ahead and read it along with me, this gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so now we have Reverend Carol and the band are going to do another song for us. Take it away, guys.
Welcome to the planet. Welcome to existence. Everyone's here. Everyone's here. Everybody waits for you now. Everybody's watching you now. What happens next? What happens next? I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened before. Welcome to existence. Welcome to the fallout. The tension is here. The tension is here. Between who you are and who you could be. Between how it is and how it could be. Yeah. I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to pick yourself up from the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened. to tell. Maybe forgiveness is right where you fell. Where do you run to escape from yourself? Where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to pick yourself up off the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened before.
Yes, yes, yes. I dare you to move like today never happened. You know, that's how we need to take our action, as if we're living right now. I absolutely agree. So, I just have one announcement right now, which is that we extended the time for nominations for people who want to be on the board to fill out their application to this Wednesday. So if you have not filled out your application, if you're interested in being on the board, you can just go to the website, ahiah.com, and find the link down there that says, apply. And that'll take you to an application. I think it's got like 13 questions or something that you just fill in, hit submit, and boom, there you are. So we're also looking forward to our annual meeting. Put that on your calendar. It's March 28th, and it's right after service, which is, right about now, just right after noon. And we're looking so forward to having you there. You do not have to be a member to participate, to hear all the great news that we're going to tell you about at the meeting. You do have to be a member in order to vote. That's all. And so be sure, remember, if you are a member, be sure to have paid your annual dues, which are just $10. So most people just naturally get that through their normal giving. You don't have to give anything special. You just have to contribute to the regular Ahiah fund, and that counts towards it. And so we love seeing you March 28th. Love seeing you next week too. So let's go ahead and do our benediction. And so it's on the screen right now. Just read along with me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it, and I share it. Just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. And so I would love to see all of you in our fellowship room. We are doing that on Zoom. And so if you want to find the Zoom link, all you have to do is go to ahiah.com/virtual and press the Go to Zoom button. I'll see you there. Otherwise, I will see you next week. God bless everyone, and namaste.